Hi, this is Teacher Julie. Welcome to another revision for exam paper. I hope that the lesson will be beneficial to you. I just want to add that today I just read a very interesting article about the power of your words. So it mentioned that scientists has found out that by our words we can reprogram our DNA. So stop thinking that you can't do math. Stop thinking that you can't improve because your DNA can be reprogrammed. I hope that you start to say positive things to yourself. I can do math. I'm a hardworking person. I can do whatever I want as long as I put my mind to it. And I believe in you. I know that you can do it. That is why I took the time to do all this video, because I see value in you. I see the potential that you have. So work hard with me, because it takes a lot of time to do all these videos. Usually the videos that you see us do for you takes about 10 to 20 hours just to produce this video for you. And everyone who is doing the video for you, this exam series, they all care about you. And I hope that you too will grow up to care about someone else. Let's go into the question. Question 1. There are 105 passengers in a train carriage. The ratio of the number of adults to the number of children is 2:1. Then 15 adults and 10 children alighted from the train. What is the new ratio of the number of adults to the number of children? Leave your answers in its simplest form. So we can see that this question is a ratio question, because what is the new ratio? So to do this question easily, I recommend the unit table. So let's start. So adult is to children is 2:1 from here. So after that, 15 adults and 10 children left. So I'm going to minus 15 here, and I'm going to minus 10 here. So notice that the total number of adults and children is actually 2 plus 1, which is 3. And it's also mentioned that the total adult is 105. So this is actually equals to 105. So why don't we create unit for this ratio number? 2 unit plus 1 unit is equals to 3 units. So 3 units is equals to 105. So if 3 unit is equals to 105, then 1 unit will become 105 divided by 3, and it will be 35. This is a very important information that you need for your questions. So now that we know what is 1 unit, we can find the number here and the number here. So if 1 unit is 35, 35 minus 10 is actually equals to 25. So this is 25. So let's now find 2 unit. So 2 unit is actually equals to 2 multiplied by 35, which is equals to 70. So 70 minus 15 is equals to 55. So this is actually 55. But this is not the final answer, because we need to leave our answer in the simplest form. So we can see that both ends with 5, therefore we can divide both by 5. And it will be 11 is to 5. So our answer will be 11 is to 5. and we have completed this question. Let us recap what we have learned here. We learned that we can use the unit table to help us to understand the question better. We learned the importance of looking at all these quantity numbers to make sure that we can use it to find our one unit by equating the number of units to the given number. We also learned the importance of reducing our ratio to its simplest form, and this is definitely the concept of finding ratio. Question 2. In a school of 1,500 pupils, there are 630 girls. 1/5 of the boys and 1/3 of the girls do not wear spectacles. How many pupils wear spectacles? So in this question, we have girls and boys. So let's write girls and boys. And the next information we can use to create a table to help us understand will be 1/5 of the boys do not wear spectacle. So no spectacle here. So this is 1. And since the total number of boys is 5 groups, so those who wore spectacle will be 5 minus 1, which is actually 4. Now let's look at the girls. 1/3 of the girls do not wear spectacle, so we have a total of 3 here. And wear spectacle is actually 3 minus 1, which is 2. Since they belong to the same set of ratio, we can call this 3 unit, 1 unit, and 2 unit. And the important information is that there are 630 girls, so 3 unit is equals to 630. So we can see here that 3 unit is equals to 630. Therefore, 1 unit is actually equals to 630 divided by 3, which is equals to 210. This is very important all the time. I advise you to highlight it. Next, since we already know what is 1 unit, the question asks, how many pupils wear spectacles? So, pupils who wear spectacles belong to this category and this category. But because they are from different fraction, we have to call it 5 part, 1 part, and 4 part. So, how are we going to solve and find our 1 part? The secret is in here, 1,500 pupils. So 5 part is actually equals to the total number of pupils, 1500, minus the number of girls, which is 630. And this is equal to 870. Therefore, 1 part is equals to 870 divided by 5, and it will be 174. Now let's find the number of pupils who wear spectacles. So we need to find 2 unit and 4 part. So 2 unit is equals to 2 multiplied by 210, and it will be 420. Number of boys who wore glasses will be 4p, which is equals to 4 times 174, and it will be 696. So let's find the total. 420 plus 696 is actually equals to 1,116 pupils. and we have found the answer to our question. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned the importance of looking at the quantity number so that we can actually find our 1 unit and 1 part based on these quantity numbers. We learned to change fraction to units. We also learned to use different color to represent different ratio so that we will not become confused. And we learned to use unit and part to call them differently so that we will not be confused. We also learned about branching because it was actually this that gives birth to the subgroup and this that gives birth to the subgroup. Finally, we have used a simple units table so that we are able to look at the relationship in a table to help us solve the question. Question 3. The figure is made up of identical squares shaped 2 more squares so that RS is the line of symmetry for the figure. So, since RS is the line of symmetry, we have to find where are the missing squares. We can see that there is a square here, and so therefore we have to shade one here as well. Notice that there is a unshaded square that separates the two, and then here we can see that there's another square here, and so therefore we have to shade this so that this has a square on the other side of the grid. It is important to know that you have to make this look like a butterfly that has identical number of squares at their position that mirror each other. So let's recap what we have learned. We have learned about symmetry. Question 4. Davy bought R packets of flour. Each packet cost 2 kg of flour. She used 1 kg of flour and gave R kg of flour to her mother. How much flour was left? Some students, they are not clear whenever we use a letter to represent quantity, but just treat it as numbers and it acts the same way. So, if there are R packets of flour and each is 2 kg, so the total weight is actually equals to 2 multiplied by R, it's equals to 2R. Okay, when you use 1 kg and gave R kg away, so what is the flour left? It will be to use this total 2R minus R here and minus 1, which is equals to 2R minus R is actually 1R. And then here it will be a minus 1. So our answer will be R minus 1 kg. It's important to take note that whenever you add units, you have to add a bracket for your answer. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned about algebra in one variable. Question 5. The pattern is made up of 4 identical circles. The ink tip of a machine moves at a total distance of 44 meters to trace out the pattern as shown below. Every part of the pattern is traced only once. Find the distance between A and B. So to find the distance between A and B, we can see that B is at the center of the circle and it is actually trying to touch the circumference. So this is definitely the radius. So since this is the distance that is traveled by the ink tip, so we know that the question requires us to use the formula of circumference, which is actually 2 pi r. And since there are 4 identical circles, we have to use 2 pi r multiplied by 4 to find the total distance traveled by the ink tip. So 2 multiplied by 22 over 7 multiplied by r, which we do not know, multiplied by 4, and we will get 176 r divided by 7. This is the total distance traveled by the ink tip, and we can now see that 176 divided by 7r is actually equal to 44. To find 1r, it's equals to 44 divided by 176 out of 7, and it will be equals to 44 multiplied by 7 over 176, and the radius is actually 1.75 meter. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned that the distance from here to here is the radius, and since there are 4 identical circles and the distance traveled is actually the circumference, so we know that it's important to know the concept of circumference, and we also know that we can use the formula of the circumference to find the missing value for the radius. Finally, we also need to learn to manage fraction division, where when divide is changed to times, we will swap the position of the numerator and the denominator. Question 6. A. Name the solid below. B. Complete the net of the solid using the grid. So we can see that this one has a long length, a shorter breadth with a height of 1 cm. So this is definitely a cuboid. And we now have to draw the net of the solid. To draw the net of the solid, we notice that this is 5 cm and this is 3 cm. So we can actually draw 3 cm here and a 5 cm here. You have to use the ruler to do this. So we have already drawn our top layer, and let's draw this layer now at the side, and it will be from here to here, and then let's try to draw this layer here, and it will be from here to here. And remember that since there are two opposite sides, so we can also draw here, so there should be a pair. And since for this one there is also the other opposite side at here, so we have to also draw here to represent the opposite side. Finally, we know that there's a top layer, and therefore this is the bottom layer. So we are drawing the bottom layer now. And we have completed our net. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned how to identify a cuboid, and we also learned how to draw the net of the cuboid. In the figure, PQRS is a parallelogram. PQ is equals to QT. And angle QRS is equals to 75 degree. Find angle TQR. TQR will be actually at here. So to find this degree, we have to look at how this angle is related to the rest of the figure. Since we need to find this, the likelihood is that we may need to find this and this as well. So let's try to find this degree here. And this degree here is actually equals to 180 degree minus 75 degree, which is equal to 105 degree. The reason is because this is parallel to this, and so this is an interior angle property where this angle here and this angle here makes up a total of 180 degree. Since we have already found this, now we also know the degree here is also 75 degree because this is also parallel to this. Therefore, we can see also an interior angle here. And we also know that in a parallelogram, the opposite side will always be the same degree. Since we have found this, and since this is a right angle, we can tell that QPT is actually equals to 90 degree because this is a right angle minus 75 degree, which is equals to 15 degree. So this is 15 degree, and because this is an isosceles triangle, as PQ is equals to QT, we can see that this is also 15 degree. And since both are 15 degree, and angle sum of triangle is actually 180 degree, we can use 180 degree minus 15 degree minus 15 degree, which is actually equals to 150 degree. So since this is 150 degree, now we can find what is TQR, because 360 degree minus 105 degree from here minus 150 degree from here will give us this angle here, which is equal to 105 degree. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned about the properties of parallelogram, where SP and RQ is actually parallel to each other, and SR and PQ are parallel to each other. We also learned about interior angle, where the angle here and here will make up 180 degree. We also learned that for a parallelogram, the angle here and here and the angle here and here, these two angles are the same in dimension, and these two are also the same. We learned the importance of right angle at here, where we can actually find 90 degree to minus the 75 to get the degree here. We also see the importance of isosceles triangle, where PQ and QT are equal in length, and therefore the base of the triangle is the same. We learned also about angle, sum of triangle, where we know that the total triangle here will be equals to 180 degrees. We also learned about angle at a point, where we need to find TQR, and we can find it by using 360 degree to minus the degree here, 105, and the degree here, which is 150. Question 8. The total value of the numbers printed on some cards is 504. Each card is printed with a different 3-digit odd number. The average value of all the numbers is 126. The difference between the greatest and the smallest number is 6. Find the smallest number printed on the cards. The interesting information here is that they told us that the greatest and the smallest is a difference of 6. So, if we draw a model of the smallest one and the model of the biggest one, it must have a difference of 6. Since they are all odd numbers, so we can presume also that the next running number would be a plus 2, and the next one will be a plus 2. So take note that all these are actually odd numbers. So let's try to use our next clue, which is 504. So the total of this number is actually 504. So if we use 504 to minus 2, 4, and 6, it will be the 4 units here. So 4 unit is actually equals to 504 when we minus the next 3 numbers, and it will be 492. So to find 1 unit, it will be 492 divided by 4, and it is actually 1, 2, 3. So the smallest number is actually the shortest one. Therefore, our answer is also 1, 2, 3. Let's recap. We learned that for these questions, they are all odd numbers. And because they all has to be odd number, it has to be an addition of 2, because 1, 3, 5 is an equal interval of 2. We also learned the importance of drawing a comparison model, more than or less than, so that we can see what is the smallest number and the biggest number and understand how this number 6 would help us to solve the number that's in between. We can also see the importance of using units to solve this question. And since this is the word smallest, we also need to understand the concept of minimum and maximum. Question 9. The solid as shown in figure 1 is built using 1 cm cubes. A. Looking at the solid from the front view, draw its top view in the given square grid. Let's try to do A first. So, to draw the top view, it's actually drawing the top cubes of the following. It's good to highlight them so you can see. So you can see that for this row, we can draw it at here. There must be 3, 1, 2, 3. And then since this is a line, we will draw it at here, and there are 2 here. So this is the answer for our question in part A. Let's try part B. Identical 1 cm cube are added to form a new solid as shown in figure 2. 1. How many 1 cm cube are added to form the new solid? 2. Find the volume of the new solid. So to compare the 2 cubes, let me just erase the highlighted part first. We can compare them by writing the number of cubes in each column. So there are 2 here, 1, 1, 1, 1. You can call this the helicopter view. Now let us count the number of cubes in figure 2. So this is 1, 1, 1, 1. This is also 1. This one is just 2 stacking, so this is 2. And this one, some students will actually see it as 1, 2, and then they thought that there's a 3 here and 4. But let's compare here to here. It's actually an increase in 1 only. So this is actually 3. Do not get tricked by the image. So the total number of cubes here will be 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, which will be 6. The total number of cubes here will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 2 is actually 7, plus 3 is actually 10. So the extra cm cube that has to be added is 10 minus 6, which is equals to 4 1 cm cubes. To find the area of this new solid, we have to know the total number of cubes, which is actually 10 cubes. And the volume of 1 cube is actually equals to length, which is actually 1 times length times length, which means that it will be 1 times 1 times 1, and this is 1 cm cube. So 10 cubes will be 10 multiplied by 1, which is equals to 10 cm cube. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned about the importance of learning how to draw and shape the square grid. We also learned about the volume of cubes. And finally, we learned how to see the number of cubes in each column by looking at the helicopter view. Question 10. In a 100 meters race, Kane was 2 meters when JR reached the finish line. JR's speed was 7 meters per second. Find Kane's speed. So to help you understand the question, let's try to draw a distance line, which is actually 100 meters. And so Kane was actually slower by 2 meters. And JR has already reached the finish line. And if we use the DST triangle, distance, speed, and time, we can see that distance is actually 100, and JR's speed is actually 7. So to be able to find out JR's time, it will be 100 divided by 7, which is equal to 14.28 seconds here. So let me draw a table to help us follow what we are doing. So this is Kane and this is JR. So we have their speed, we have their time, and we have their distance. So for the distance for JR, it was 100 at this part of the story, and her speed was actually 7 meters per second. Therefore, her time is actually 14.28 seconds. So right now, let's look at the distance of Kane. The distance of Kane, since he's 2 meters behind, it will be 100 minus 2, which is equals to 98. And notice that at the time that Jaya just finished the race, Kane has not finished, but the time at here is exactly the same as 14.28 seconds. We can put 14.28 seconds here, and therefore to find Kane's speed, it will be equal to 98 divided by 14.28, and our answer will be 6.86 meter per second. Let's recap what we have learned. We have learned the DST table and different in speed. We also learned the same starting point for both runners and also the same starting time and the distance apart towards the finish line. Question 11. The figure is made up of a circle and two identical right-angle triangles. W is the center of the circle. 11 out of 28 of triangle VWY is shaded. Find the ratio of the area that is not shaded to the total area of the figure. So right now, let's try to transfer the information over first so that we can find the ratio. So first thing is triangle VWY. So VWY is here, and the area here is actually 28 unit. And since both are identical, this will also be 28 unit. And since 11 out of 28 is shaded, so we can see that this is also 11th unit. And if this is 11 unit and this is 28 unit, 28 unit minus 11 unit is actually equals to 17 unit here. So we have 17 unit here, 28 unit here. Now let's look at the bottom semicircle. Since this quadrant is 11 unit, we can see that this is also 11 unit because they are identical, and this is also 11 unit. In order to find the ratio of the not shaded to the total area, it will be equals to, this is 17 unit plus this is 28 unit, this is 28 unit plus 11 from here and 11 from here. To see the total, it will be, this whole thing is 28 and this is 28, this is 11 and 11, so it will be 28 plus 28 plus 11 plus 11. So we will get 67 here and 78 here, and this is our answer. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned about shaded and unshaded. We also learned about circle, about how a quarter circle is identical to other quarter circle. We also learned about fraction of a whole. We learned how to change fraction to units. And finally, we learn how to find ratio. Question 12. The bar graph shows the number of brands of pens sold in a shop, number of pens, brand A, brand B, brand C, and brand D. The prices of the stamps are shown in the table below. Brand, price per pen, A, $3.50, B, $2.40, C, $2.50, D, $1.80. A. How many brand B pens were sold? B. There were twice as many brand D pens as brand A pens sold. Draw the bar to show the number of brand D pens sold. To understand this bar graph, we have to understand what happens at here. So we can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 lines in order to reach 40. So 40 divided by 4 is equals to 10. So every interval is actually 10 pens. So how many pens from brand B were sold? So let's look at brand B, and it is at here. So to be able to see the number of pens sold for brand B, it will be actually the halfway mark between 120 and 160, which will be actually 140. Next, let's look at the bar that we need to draw for brand D, which has to be twice as compared to A. So what it means is that for brand D, it has to be doubled of brand A. So if brand A is actually 90, then we have to draw 180 for brand D, and since every interval is 10, so we just have to use 200 minus 20 to get 180, and we have to draw for this bar and stop at 180. So the number of pens sold for brand A is 90. The number of pens sold for brand B is actually 140. For brand C, it will be 130. And for brand D, it will be 180. So let's now look at part C. Each statement below is either true, false, or not possible to tell from the graph. For each statement, put a tick in the correct column. So for I, the greatest amount of money is collected from the sales of brand B pens. So we have to compare the sales of all these pens. We have to use the number of pen multiplied by the price per pen. So at brand A, it will be 90 multiplied by 350, and it will be 315. For brand B, it will be 140 multiplied by 240, and it will be 336. For brand C, it will be 130 multiplied by 250, and it will be equal to 325. And for brand D, it will be 180 multiplied by 180, and it will be 324. So we can see that the greatest amount of money collected is for the sales of brand B, which is 336, since this is the highest value among the four. So this must be true. Double I, the shop makes the most amount of money from the sales of brand D pens. This is not possible to tell because when we use the word make the most amount of money, we are talking about profit. And there's no way that we can see the profit just by the selling price of the pen. For example, if the shopkeeper bought all the pens at $360 and he sold at $315. That means he's making a loss of $45. But we do not know because we do not know the cost price of the pens. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned about bar graph. We also learned about number times value. Finally, we learned about the idea of making money, which is actually the idea of profit, which is actually the selling price minus the cost price. Question 13. Plastic bricks measuring 6 cm by 2 cm by 3.6 cm each are put into a cubical box with a flat cover. A. How many bricks touches only the base of the box? B. Find the most number of bricks that can be put inside the box such that the cover can be closed completely. In order to do A, where the bricks will touch the base of this box, some children will actually think that it will be the total area here, which is 36 by 36 because this is a cube, and divided it by 6 times 2. This is not correct because if you do that, you may have to cut some of the bricks to fit in. So the best thing to do is actually use 36 divided by 6 so that we can calculate how many bricks we can put here. So number of bricks that we can put along this side of the box will be 36 divided by 6, which is equals to 6. Number of bricks that we can put here will be 36 divided by 2, which is equals to 18. So how many bricks, total bricks that can touch only the base of the box will be 18 multiplied by 6, which is equal to 108 bricks. Let's now do B. To find the most number of bricks that can be put inside the box so that it will be closed completely, we have to think about how many bricks can we stack here and yet the box will be closed completely without bulging. So since this is a cubical container, we will know that this is also 36. So if we use 36 divided by the height here, which is 3.6, we will have an answer of 10. So some children will think that they should be able to stack 10, but this is not correct because it would mean that you are stacking the bricks like that, and these are the 2 circles, and then like that again. But we know that it won't happen because the bricks is supposed to stack like that. So we have to think about how we should stack it such that there is no gap in between, like this. So this is 3.6. So we know that this is actually 3.6. And therefore, if we use 6.6 minus 3.6, we will get 3, which is actually at here. This is wrong, and the correct height that we should use is actually 3 instead of 3.6. So if we now use 36 divided by 3, we will get an answer of 12. Remember that if it is 12, it means that it will be looking a little bit like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is also wrong because we must consider the bulging part for the last brick at the top. So we cannot choose 12 bricks. We must leave some space to put these two circles. So what we do will be, we use 12 minus 1 so that it will be up to here instead of here, which means that this will be gone. So 12 minus 1 is actually equals to 11. So it can contain a height of 11 bricks. And knowing that the base we can put 108 bricks, so we can use 108 multiplied by 11, which is equal to 1188. So this is the most number of bricks that we can put inside the box. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned about the volume of cube because this is a cubical box. We also learned about the importance of the concept of height of the container, height of cubot, or in this case cube. We also learned about filling this box with cube. In here it's bricks. Filling with cubes. Question 14. 35 liters of water is used to fill up bottles of 3 different capacity as shown above. There is an equal number of small size bottle and large size bottle. The number of middle size bottle is 3 times the number of small size bottle. How much water is used to fill up all the middle size bottle? To solve this question, we need to know the ratio of the different size bottle. So if there is an equal number of small size bottle and large size bottle, so if we have a table here which is small, medium, large, and it is equal, so this will be 1:1. Now the number of medium size bottle is actually 3 times the number of small size bottle. So this is 3 and this is also 1. Notice that both this number, even though it's a different color, represents the quantity of large size bottle, and since they are the same, we can take it as the small size bottle is represented by 1 unit, middle size is 2 unit, and large size is 1 unit. So now we will draw the number times value table because there is a capacity to the bottle. So small, medium, large. So we have the number here, which is 1U, 3U, and 1U. And at here, we have the capacity, which is the value, and it will be 250 ml here, 500 ml here, and 750 ml here. So when we look at number times value, it will be 250 unit because 1 unit times 250 is 250 unit. 3 unit times 500 is actually 1500 unit, and 1 unit times 750 is 750 unit. So when we add all these three together, it is equal to 35 liters. And since 1 liter is actually 1000 ml, so 35 liters will be equal to 35,000 ml. So 250 unit plus 1,500 unit plus 750 unit is actually equal to 2,500 unit. So 2,500 unit is equivalent to 35,000 ml. So 1 unit is actually equals to 35,000 divided by 2,500, and it will be 14. So this is the most important part of the information now. And how much water is used to fill up all the middle size bottle? This is the middle size bottle column, and the water is represented as 1,500 unit. So 1,500 unit is equal to 1,500 multiplied by 14, and the volume will be 21,000 ml or 21 liters. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned that there is some information about the number of bottles, and we have to use the concept of repeated identity to be able to synchronize the number of bottles so that you'll be represented by units. We also learned about number times value so that we can equate the volume that is given here to be the total volume of water represented by the unit. We also learn about unit conversion, where we change liter into ml by multiplying 1 liter equals to 1000 ml. Lastly, we learned the importance of coming up with a unit table so that we can be able to read the information clearly and be able to find our answers easily. Question 15. The cardboard not drawn to scale has a perimeter of 64 cm. It has holes punched in such a way that each hole has equal distance from the one around it and from the side of the cardboard. There are 10 holes along each length. The diameter of each hole is 1 cm. Find the number of holes along its breadth. So we can see that in a typical cardboard, this is exactly how it will look like from the side of the cardboard, and at this side also, it will also be obeying the same rules of 1 cm here and 1 cm here. The important point to note is that the interval, which is the gap, is at the start, and it will continue to be so until the end. So in this case, there will always be one extra gap as compared to the number of holes. So to find the length and the breadth, we can actually look at the information here. There are 10 holes along each length. So from here to here, there will be 10 holes, and if there are 10 holes, it means that there will be set of 10 gaps plus hole, gap plus hole, all the way to the end, gap plus hole, plus one more gap here. So in other words, there will be 11 gaps and 10 holes. Since The length of the gap and the hole is the same, so this is 1 cm each, and the hole is also 1 cm in length each. So total length here is actually equals to 11 plus 10, which is equals to 21. So if this is actually 21 cm, this will also be 21 cm. To find the breadth from here to here, we need to use the parameter, because parameter is equal to 2 length plus 2 breadth. So 21 times 2 plus 2 breadth is actually equals to 64. 2 breadth is equals to 64 minus 42, which is equals to 22. So the breadth is actually equals to 22 divided by 2, which is 11 cm. To find the number of holes along its breadth, we have to understand that this will also follow the same rule, which is a gap and a hole as one set, followed by another gap and a hole as one set, and the last one will only be a gap. So we need to minus the extra 1 cm that is at here first. So it will be 11 minus the 1 extra gap that is here, and we divide it by 2, which is equals to 10 divided by 2, and there is actually 5 sets of gap and hole, which also means that there are 5 holes. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned about interval, or we can call it gaps. And we know that we have to be careful counting the number of intervals. We also learned about the parameter of a rectangle and also the diameter of a circle. We also learned about the importance of the parameter of a rectangle, where 2 length plus 2 breadth is equals to the parameter. We also learned the importance of sets, where 1 interval plus 1 circle is equivalent to 1 set. Question 16. Shop A and Shop B sold 2 types of mobile phone at the price as shown below. Yozo $599, Zenny $999. Shop A and Shop B sold the same number of mobile phone last month. Shop A sold 13 Yozo phone and some Zenny phone. Shop B sold 15 Zenny phones and some Yozo phone. The total amount Shop A collected was 2,000 less than Shop B. A. How many Yozo phones did Shop B sell? B. How much money did Shop A collect? So, to help us understand the question better, let me just try to draw what is going on in the story first. So we have Shop A and Shop B. Both shops carry Zorro and Zenny. Shop A sold 13 Yozo and some Zenny. Shop B sold 15 Zenny and some Yozo. And the biggest clue is at here, the $2,000 list. Before I can solve this puzzle, let me show you the concept that they are testing you on, which is, can you imagine with me now that this is shop A and shop B? But instead of selling these two brands, they are selling very cheap phones, which is only $10 or $1. So shop A sells one $10 phone, shop B sells one $1 phone. So you can see that shop A will earn an extra $9, while shop B will earn less by $9 because 10 minus 1 is 9. So if this happened again, this will be another $10 here and this will be $1. So it means that shop B earned less by another $9, and this can continue regardless of what happened here, where shop A sells a $10 phone and shop B also sell the same $10 phone. So there is no difference here between them. Similarly, if shop A sells a $1 phone and shop B sells a $1 phone, there is no difference in the amount here. So that is why this number is so important, because it shows the extra money that shop B and shop A had in difference. So if shop A collected 2,000 less, it means shop B sold more of the expensive Zenfone. So if we use 999 minus 599, it is actually 400. Okay, it's almost like this, but the difference is 400. So 2,000 divided by 400 is actually 5. So it means that shop B sold extra 5 Zenfone. So if shop B sold 5 extra Zenfone, 15 minus 5 is actually 10. So shop A sold 10 Zenfone. And the total phone sold here is actually 10 plus 13, which is 23. So the total phone here is actually 23. And the question already states clearly that they sold the same number of phones. So this one must also be 23. And therefore, the Zolo phones here will be 23 minus 15, which is equals to 8. So here the number is actually 8. A, how many Zolo phones did shop B sell? So we can say that shop B sold 8 Yozo phones. Let's look at B now. How much money did shop A collect? So in order to sell 13 Yozo phone, it will be 13 multiplied by 599 plus 10 Zenfone, which is 10 times 999. So our answer will be $17,777. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned the importance of more than and less than. We also learned about equal number, the importance of equal number, or we can call it equal stage here. We also learned the importance of why A and B when they have a total extra of an amount. Example, the extra at here is because of the difference in the item price, and we just have to know the difference in the item price to be able to see how many items were bought that belong to the more expensive item. This is also known as gap and difference, where this is the huge gap and this is the difference. Question 17. A housewife buys a 5 kg pack of rice grain. The graph shows the amount of rice grain left at the end of each day for a week. So this is the line graph with the horizontal axis as the day and the vertical axis as the number of rice grains left in kg. A. On which day was the most amount of rice grain consumed? B. What percentage of the 5 kg pack of rice grain was consumed by day 3? C. 200 grams of rice grain fill 1 measuring cup. How many cups of rice grain were left at the end of day 7? So for this question, the important thing to note is that this represents the amount of rice grains left and not the amount of rice grain consumed. Another thing to take note of is to know that the starting point here is 2 and not 0. In order to know on which day was the most amount of rice grain consumed, we have to take note of the steepness of the fall. So we can see that the steepest part actually happens at here. So at the end of day 5, this is the amount of rice left. It means that the rice consumed on this day is actually the amount here, as compared to days like this, which is like 2 bar, this is 3 bar, this is 2 bar, and this is actually 1 bar, and this is actually 1 bar. So we can see that this one is actually the day that the most amount of rice was consumed, and it is on day 5, because this shows the end of day 5. What percentage of the 5 kg pack of rice was consumed on day 3? So on day 3, notice that this word is a buy. It means the total that has been consumed, and it is actually at, let's look at the total of rice left here first. So at here, the rice that is left is actually at this mark here, and we have to think about what does this mark means. So when we look at this 2 and 3, we have to see the number of interval here. So it is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if this is actually 1 divided by 5 is actually 0.2. So every one of this represents 0.2. So to be able to see on day 3, this is actually representing 3, 3.2, 3.4, 3.6. So 3.6 kg of rice is left, and if there was 5 kg, so 5 minus 3.6 is actually 1.4 kg of rice had been consumed. So if you want to find the percentage, the important thing to note will be 1.4 divided by the original weight of the rice grain, which is 5, and multiply it by 100%, and we will get 28%. Now let's look at part C. So if there was 200 grain of rice that can fill up one measuring cup, how many cups of rice were left at the end of day 7? So at the end of day 7, this is actually 2, and this is actually 2.2. So 2.2 kg of rice is equivalent to 2,200 grams of rice, because 1 kg is equivalent to 1,000 grams. So 2,200 divided by 200 is actually equals to 11. So in other words, the number of cups of rice grain left is actually 11. Let's recap what we have learned. We learned how to read a line graph and take note of what number is represented at the starting point, and we also take note of what is stated in the axis. We also learned how to find percentage. We also learned about the importance of the word most, which means mean and maximum. And we learned the importance of converting kg to gram, because the measuring cup is in gram. Now let's go to iSchool.sg and see the features that can help you to improve in your math faster. So one of the way you can do it is through clicking on the concept tag, and you will find all the questions that have the same concept tag for you. And if you want to find a combination, for example, with common numerator, just add a comma and click search. So now you can find questions that have 2 concept tags instead of 1. If you do want to add in another concept tag, just add another comma or add in the word like adults and see what happens. So you will try to find words that have the same concepts plus the keyword that you're looking for. And you can change the level according to the level that you want and the concepts and keyword that you want. Hi children, we have come to the end of this video. Thank you for spending this precious time with me. I really enjoy teaching you, and I want you to know that you are unstoppable. I believe in you and I want you to persevere. I look forward to receive PMs from you that say that you have benefited and now you love math more and more. Remember, I love you and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.